Have you ever wondered why an iPhone with just 6 GB of RAM often feels faster than an Android phone packed with 12 GB of RAM? It sounds crazy, right? But there is a secret behind Apple's speed that most people don't realize, and today I am breaking it down for you. Welcome to iQB Facts, the channel where we break down the coolest tech facts and myths in a way that actually makes sense. Today we are diving into a question that's been around for years. Why is the iPhone usually faster than Android phones, even when Androids have more RAM, more cores, and crazy specs on paper? I know it sounds strange. You have seen Android phones with 12 GB of RAM, octa-core processors, even liquid cooling systems. Meanwhile, the iPhone is sitting there with 6 GB of RAM and fewer cores. Yet somehow it still feels faster. So what's really going on here? First off, let's bust a common myth. Specs are not everything. Just because a device looks powerful on paper doesn't always mean it performs better in real life. It's like building a car race with a giant engine. But if your tires are cheap, the suspension is off, and the fuel system isn't tuned, you are not winning the race. That's kind of what happens in the Android world sometimes. You have code impressive parts, but they don't always work in harmony. Apple, on the other hand, doesn't chase big numbers. They chase efficiency and optimization. Instead of cramming in the most RAM or the highest clock speeds, Apple focuses on how everything works together, from the chip to the software to the battery. And that's where the iPhone really pulls ahead. Now let's talk about Apple's secret weapon, the A series chips. These are Apple's custom designed processors like the A16 or A17 Bionic, and they are monsters. Unlike most Android phones that rely on Qualcomm or MediaTek, Apple builds their chips in-house. That means every inch of the processor is fine-tuned, especially for iPhones and iOS. No middlemen, no generic parts, just pure synergy. This allows Apple to create hardware and software that are literally made for each other. iOS squeezes every bit of performance out of the chip. So even if the iPhone has less RAM or fewer cores, it's using them way more efficiently. It's like a team that's been training together for years versus a group of all-stars players who just met yesterday. And speaking of RAM, this is a huge one. Android phones often need more RAM because of how Android works. Android runs on Java-based virtual machines, which require more memory management, background services, and garbage collection. iOS doesn't work that way. It handles memory differently and more efficiently, so it simply doesn't need as much RAM to run battery smooth. Then there are software updates. iPhones get updates directly from Apple the moment they are released. Everyone gets it. Meanwhile, in Android land, updates go from Google, manufacturer, carrier. That takes time, meaning many Android phones run outdated software or security patches, which can hurt performance over time. On iPhones, the software is always optimized for the latest hardware and vice versa. Let's not forget background activity. Android apps are notorious for staying alive in the background, running services, syncing data, draining battery, and slowing things down. iOS is trigger. It limits background processes and prioritizes active tasks, so your iPhone stays snappy even after hours of use. Another overlooked factor is thermal performance. Some Android phones throttle quickly when they heat up, even with advanced cooling systems. The software often pulls back to avoid overheating. Apple's chips, however, are built with thermal efficiency in mind, so they maintain high performance without getting as hot. That's why iPhones stay consistently fast, even under pressure. Have you noticed how iPhones launch apps faster, even ones you haven't opened in a while? That's partly because iOS handles app caching and memory management smarter. It keeps the right stuff ready to go and cleans up what's not needed. Even animations play a role in this speed illusion. iOS animations are fluid and intentional, making transitions feel smooth and fast. On some Android phones, animations can feel laggy, even if the hardware is powerful. It causes a huge impact on how fast a phone feels to the user. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean Android phones are slow or bad. Not at all. There are incredibly fast and capable Android devices out there. But in most day-to-day situations, app opening, multitasking, responsiveness, the iPhone has the edge because everything is tightly integrated and finely tuned. It's kind of like the difference between a tailored suit and one off the rack. Android phones might have more fabric and extra features, but the iPhone just fits better. That seamless experience is what makes it feel faster. That seamless experience is what makes it feel faster, smoother, and more reliable, even when the raw specs suggest otherwise. So, the next time you see an iPhone outperform a spec heavy Android, remember it's not just about numbers, it's about harmony, hardware, software, and design working together like a well rehearsed orchestra. And that, my friends, is why the iPhone usually feels faster than Androids in most cases. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more tech breakdowns. And drop a comment. Do you notice the speed difference between iPhones and Androids? I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching.